We're really excited about going to North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race. It's going to be kind of like a throwback deal because of all the history that comes out of that racetrack, and to be able to go back up there now. I went up with with the governor when he told them that they were he gave them some money to repair and work on the place. And I told Marcus at that time, I said, Marcus, this would be a great place for an all-star race. Oh, I don't think so, though. When he did it, I called him up and told him I was right.
Have you looked at it since they've got a lot of this work done, or seen some pictures and stuff, and what do you think?
We went up there and tested. Austin Dillon tested for us, and the track was, like it was before. It just eats the tires right off of it, and that's what you want. That's going to put on good racing. He said he thought it was going to put on a really good show. So I haven't been up there, but they were pretty impressed with everything that was going on up at North Wilkesboro.
The last race there, Jeff Gordon and Earnhardt were battling it, and Gordon won. But what do you remember about that race in '96?
I got a lot of memories from North Wilkesboro from time that the wins that we had. I think we had 5 wins with Dale. Had a lot of top 5s, a lot of top 10s. I remember the first time we went and ran the radial tire, and it was in 1987, I think, and Wilkesboro was a racetrack. And everybody said, well, Earnhardt's done now. He can't run these radial tires. We go up there and win the race. The car's in the museum. It's beat up pretty good, but we won the first race on the radial tires. But I got a lot of great memories of North Wilkesboro, going back to the Junior Johnson days, and a lot of fans up there are so true and loyal to the sport.
Did you race on the track when you were racing?
Oh yes, yeah. It was one of my favorite. It was my hometown track, and it was one of my favorite tracks as a driver to race on. It was always fun. I had some good runs there. I had quite a few top 10s, so not bad for an independent driver back in the day.
What does it mean, you think, for the NASCAR fans and you teams and drivers and everybody for the sport to be going back to North Wilkesboro?
I think it's a piece of history that's going to be reopened, and I think for the fans that hadn't seen what the racing was back in the 90s when we were racing there, in the 80s, I think are going to be impressed to see the track is totally different. It's uphill, downhill, one corner's different from the other. So it's a challenge to the crew chiefs to get a car set up good there.
Richard, do you think, I'm sure you have the records from way back when. Do you think you might have to pull out some of the old notebooks to figure out how to set up a car for this race?
That's a good question. These cars are so different than anything we've ever raced. We can't use any of the old stuff that we have, but you got to be realizing in your setups that the track is wore out, and that's what they want to keep it like that, and it'll put on a good race, but it's going to be challenging for the crew chiefs to hit it.
Do you think having the tire test that Austin did a couple weeks ago will help you guys put you a little ahead of others?
I don't know that it'll get us ahead of anyone, because you never know, they may come back with a totally different tire, but getting laps around the track to understand how much fall off, it had a lot of fall off in the tires, and that's the reason they were testing and try to get good tires, and Goodyear always has us good tires.
Richard, if I can I ask about the Veterans Coffee that we had going on this morning? Why is it so important for you to have these guys come over to visit y'all once a month?
It's really important to me, because none of us would be here today. NASCAR wouldn't be here if we didn't have our veterans and our active troops that we have today. I support them 100% in every way I can, and we've been doing the Veterans Coffee for quite a few years now, and it just gives me great pride to walk up there and look out in that crowd and see the faces of the people that give us the rights to be here today.
Richard, did any of them talk to you about their excitement for North Wilkesboro at all?
Sir?
Did any of the veterans express any excitement about North Wilkesboro at all?
Yeah, I have had people all over. You will not believe how many calls we've had for passes, and I'm trying to find a helicopter to get in and out of there, because it's going to be tough getting in and out of Wilkesboro, but I think I got it fixed up pretty good now.
How excited are you for it to return just to that area, and how much does it mean for that community?
Well, the economic impact that it's going to be for the whole area of Wilkesboro is going to be great. And that's what happened when we pulled out of North Wilkesboro. It really took a lot from the area from the financial standpoint, and now it's going to really help out to be back.
And Richard, there's a lot of younger NASCAR fans. How important is it to keep or to tell them about the tradition of North Wilkesboro going back there?
I think it'll help our whole fan base, because to see the kind of racing that built NASCAR was at North Wilkesboro. I remember going up there as a little kid watching a dirt race when it was a dirt track, and that goes way back. It tells my age there. But I think that just letting a fan see it today is going to be great. A new fan watching a race at North Wilkesboro, even if you can't get a ticket, you can't get in, but watching it on TV, it's going to be exciting.
Richard, you said this is like a hometown race for you guys. You've been both cars in the All-Star race. How much of an emphasis are you putting on this event, even though it is a non-points event?
We're going to be going all in. We want to go up there and run good. As many families that we can get in will be there. That's what it used to be. We'd always have a cookout or something before with Dale and all the guys there. So it's a special place to me.
Richard, you had 19 starts there at North Wilkesboro. Is there one particular race that stands out in your mind that when you were driving, that maybe sticks out as a good run for you?
You know, it's hard to pick one, because I really love driving there, because the track would just give in to the guys that didn't have the best equipment, and we didn't back in that day. But just some of the great runs that we had there. It was a lot of fun. It was a fun racetrack to drive on too.
Richard, you mentioned 5 wins in North Wilkesboro, but does Ricky Rudd owe you one for 1989, and how much is that? I know it's you guys racers talk about while they celebrate the wins, they remember the ones that got away more. So what about that 1989 race with Ricky Rudd?
I think it ended up pretty much costing us a championship that year. I remember that. I was pretty upset, and you got to put all that stuff behind you as you get older. But yeah, that will never leave me, because I felt that cost us a championship that year. But they were racing hard, and I know Chocolate went down there, and I think he grabbed Larry McReynolds. I don't know what happened, but I know none of us were happy.
Is it? I think Ricky tells the story about having to be put in the backseat of a squad car or something to get out of there because everybody was so angry. And what do you recall of just the atmosphere, or what it was like at that track that day?
It was tense. And I know when I got in the car, I made a few comments in front of my wife and another couple that were in the car with us that I probably shouldn't have made, but I can't say it today. But now Ricky, he was trying to win, and Dale was trying to win. I think they owed each other one or something. So.
One of those things about the history or legacy of North Wilkesboro is always the story about the 1990 race that Brett Bodine won, and there's always some who say, the scoring was off and that Brett wasn't the winner. You guys finished 3rd, so I don't know if you felt like Darrell was also in that same situation, that you could have been the winner if there was this scoring issue, or that.
I remember a little about that, okay. Dustin. It was one of those deals that really didn't affect us unless they kicked Darrell out for everything they were doing to their car too. And that was a track that I know Junior and his whole crew. I could stand here and tell all kinds of stories about the things they did to their cars, but they won a lot of races there.
What was it like to race Junior in those cars in that atmosphere? Because that was obviously his backyard. I know we can talk about being on a home track where you grew up, but that was kind of Junior Johnson territory. Just what it was like when you went to that track.
Yeah, that was Junior Johnson territory, and Darrell won a lot of races. Cale won a lot of races. But if you could go up there and beat them in their backyard, we looked at it as a home track because it was the closest track to us. But Junior lived there, and he had a lot to do with that racetrack. But if you beat Junior Johnson's cars up there, you had really did something.
And for the All-Star race, Kevin Harvick is bringing back the 29 to run for that event. Obviously, that's your number and a lot of history with that, and obviously gave your approval. But what does it mean to be able to see Harvick in the 29 for another race after what that 29 means to you?
To see Kevin Harvick get back in that 29, I thought it was, it almost got me emotional, I'll have to tell you, just thinking about the history that we had with that 29 and all the things that we were able to accomplish. And one thing I told Kevin that we didn't accomplish that I really feel bad about is we didn't win a championship. We were there second and third and always there with it. But to see that car, I've seen the pictures of it, it's very, very special to see Kevin bring that back and drive it one more time.
Sir, in that same vein, talk about how special it is to see that they're renovating the track and making it look almost original like it did when it was running beforehand.
Yeah, I understand that. I've seen the renditions of the drawings of it, and it's going to be amazing to see the track put back, the old press boxes and everything put back like they were. So that's going to be really cool.
From the outside, it looks like NASCAR has changed so much since it left North Wilkesboro. RCR seems like it's changed so much. How would you describe that? How would you describe how the sport and your company has changed since the last time you were at North Wilkesboro?
I think over time, if you don't change, you'll be out of business. So watching NASCAR change of many things, the cars we've been through, I think it's the 7th or 8th version of the race cars since I've been involved. And to see the changes that they've made, you look around at RCR when we were going North Wilkesboro, we were over here on the Gumtree Road with a little old 6,000 square foot shop, and today we got 500,000 square feet here. And it's pretty amazing to see the growth of the sport and be able to be involved in the growth of the sport throughout all those years.
There's another racetrack in North Carolina that is undergoing some revitalization efforts in Rockingham. If North Wilkesboro goes well, would you support perhaps exploring the idea of NASCAR going back to Rockingham?
I would, yes. You know, that was always a fun racetrack, but with Charlotte, Wilkesboro, Martinsville, everything, you're really in a little hub. We have to carry the sport, and one reason the sport has grown, they've been able to carry it to Wisconsin, California, all these different places for new events and new venues. And now we're doing more road racing. That's a little different than any of us expected we'd have that much. But if that's what it takes to entertain our fans, we're in show business, that's what we got to do.
Are there any of those victories at North Wilkesboro that stand out to you that have any special meaning? Any of the victories at North Wilkesboro have any special meaning or memory?
You know, every one of them was special. It was a deal that, you know, I can remember just seeing Dale get out of the car in the old Wrangler car that we have up here, and winning that radial tire race was probably the most special because everybody had written Dale Earnhardt off because of not having to buy his tires, and he went up there and showed them he was Dale Earnhardt. You get a chance, you got to look at that old car. I never restored it. I left it with that Dale Earnhardt look, beat up on the sides and the nose and everything about it. So,
Richard, what was the atmosphere like in '96 on that last weekend? You know, I think when I watched the broadcast, Dave Mustaine has this really kind of like almost like a eulogy for the track. Did you ever think on that weekend when we were leaving North Wilkesboro that we would ever come back?
no, I never did. I even, a time or two, I talked about trying to buy it myself and doing some other type of racing up there. And but they're doing the right thing with it. Now bringing it back, making it a special event. I don't think this will be the last time you'll see us at Wilkesboro if it goes well.
How serious were you about buying that track or looking into it?
It's just, I'm going back to when Bob Bear and those guys were involved. It'd been neat to have had it. I tried to buy Rockingham as well, but I never was able to pull one of them off. Texas World Speedway, I was backup bidder on every one of them, it seemed like. But I wanted to take and fix Wilkesboro back like it was, run some short track racing there. We even kicked around about turning it back into a big dirt track.
Oh, really? Would you like to see it? Would you like to see Marcus make it a dirt track and that becomes potentially the dirt track for you guys?
I think the race the other night, the way the track was at Bristol, was probably the best dirt track racing I'd seen, the best condition of any racetrack. We didn't have all the dust. The cars were able to keep racing hard. I think if you could do that every week on dirt, the fans would love it.
Richard, you think about the history of the three-car in the sport. Obviously, Dale Earnhardt Sr. was, helped to build up that brand. How special is it going to be to see the three-car back in North Wilkesboro Speedway?
It's going to be neat to see it. I wouldn't mind carrying it with a little different paint scheme, but I think we have a sponsor that's going to want it like it is with their colors. But, to see Austin in the three-car, and I think he's won 4 races with it, and going out there making chases and running with it is special, and I think he's going to do real good for the years over this year.
And if Dale Earnhardt Sr. was still with us today, what would you think that he would say about the return of racing to North Wilkesboro?
I think he'll be smiling down when we go up to North Wilkesboro, because I knew that was one of his favorite places. I can remember going up there testing with him, and Dale Jr. was in the hauler asleep, and I said, "Boy, you better wake up and get out here and watch your dad if you ever want to drive a race car." So I told him that story a while back.
Got a few races under our belt here this season. How is the having Kyle Busch on the team helping? What kind of things do you see that you go, all right, this is right?
I was just meeting with Kyle yesterday, and I'm just so impressed with his ability and knowledge of a race car and his drive to want to do good and want to win. We're working hard. We're getting there. We didn't run good at Richmond. We had 2 good cars at Bristol. We're going to be there before the year's over. We just got to keep digging, and we don't have his complete field yet with the crew chief. I'd say the second half of the season, you're going to see a whole different RCR and Kyle Busch, because we've got to learn each other as far as what he's really wanting and what we can give him. And I'm excited. I am probably as excited this year as I've been in a long time.
And a similar idea is, on the Xfinity side with Shelton and the guys down the road here, the Xfinity races this year almost all of them have been won right here out of this square area. What do you think about that? Because there's a lot of RCR involvement in all of those wins.
Yeah, we were speaking about it yesterday with Chris Rice. He said we've won 5 of the 7 races out of Welcome right here, and that says a lot for the quality of the guys that we have working there, the drivers. I'm excited for that Xfinity. Both of them guys are really on it. Colleagues got, with the Smith kid, everybody, that he's got down there, they're going to win a lot of races this year.
Richard, it's not only the All-Star race going to North Wilkesboro, we also have Cars Tour and some late models and other short track racing on that week. How important is it as NASCAR is expanding to, LA, to Coda, all these other different tracks, to bring the short tracks back to the focus point on such an important weekend?
I think it's really important because of the fan base that we have today, to be able to reach out and go and get other type of racing. I think it's really strong. Having Wilkesboro back is going to be nothing but a positive for the sport.